All right, welcome back to the Youth Engagement Forum. On the final stretch of this conversation, we are touching on what is hurting, impacting, and how we can change the status of the Kenyan youth. Today we are having a very broad conversation. Before we take a break, Dr. Shem Agye was talking about the issues to do with creating an enabling environment, and it's almost like we have intentionally put barriers to starting businesses in the country, especially by young people, majority of this population. And it's quite unfortunate. But I want to go to Hussein Kamal. Hussein, you're in the auto industry, and you've experienced the issue that you raised earlier on about the education issue, where industry and education institutions, they are not on the same wavelength in regards to churning out skilled labor. Looking at a broader perspective, especially for private sector, being a player in that sector, when I start my own business, definitely I fall under your sector. Do you think that is one of I can call it a silver bullet, but sort of a big solution, if at all we solve how we can enable innovation, enterprise from the ground by this majority who are youthful? If we're intentional about that, will we be solving a lot of issues in this country?
Yes, but once again, we go back to the core function that education plays in all of this. Why, I think someone mentioned how the West is ahead in a lot of things, and yet we know the West to have looted pretty much all the resources that existed, prior to, when we say independence. They still continue to do so in a lot of countries. But why are they ahead in terms of technological development, for example? I had the privilege of studying outside. And one of the things I learned, because I went through the public school system here in Kenya before I went abroad for education, is that you are given a chance at every stage to voice your opinion. You are actually encouraged to think creatively. The difference between them and us is that over here, the teacher in your class, whether it is at primary level, secondary, or even university, they say this is how this is supposed to be. You cannot change, you cannot give your thought, you cannot say, but I feel, if you read a story, if you read, Chinua Achebe, for example, in the West, you will be allowed to interpret that in so many different ways. Here, we only told, this is what it is, and this is how you're supposed to answer it in the exam. This stifles your way of thinking, and ultimately your creativity. When creativity is stifled, of course, development is also stifled, because you are being taught, you are being forced to toe a certain line. That is part of the difference. So, this is one of the challenges we face, I think.
And do you think mentorship can solve that briefly?
Mentorship? Yes, to a certain degree. But when it comes to mentorship, I think the youth have become so apathetic today, and I don't blame them for it. I used to, before the entire protest, I used to say this generation has really lost its way. I'll give an example, because I interact a lot on social forums. I do try to be a mentor wherever possible. And I've been trying to mentor the youth to tell them, look, this has been my path journey. This is how you want to do things. You have to struggle for a few years while you make your way and people start to, recognize you. You develop the skills which are necessary. And the response I got was, this is the problem with you old people, that that you don't understand us at all. So I said, I took a step back and I said, okay, I don't understand these guys. This generation is gone. Nothing can be done with these guys. I don't know what we will do. I don't know who's going to fill in these jobs, and the next how long we will have to work, and So, but my viewpoint really changed during these recent protests, because this is when I realized the kind of power that the youth harness today if they decide to utilize it positively. As an example, I think Shem has been talking a lot about politics and politicians and what they are doing and not doing. I don't believe our political system is going to change with these current crop of guys there, because they have been doing the same thing for last few decades. Change has to come from within, and it has to be youth-led. We saw youth, if you're on X, for example, they were posting phone numbers of politicians saying, Wasalimia
Kidogo.
Yeah, greet them, talk to them, tell them why are they doing ABCD.
Okay.
And while that lasted, let me tell you, those guys were really, really they didn't know what to do, basically. They were being held to task. And that, unfortunately, came to an end. Yeah? But that is where these guys' strength lies, because they have networking, which no one else has. They have access to information, which no one else has. They know how to utilize social networking to its maximum potential. And if they do that, if they come out of this apathetic state, basically, and say, we are going to participate in politics, we are going to participate in the elections, we are going to vote. Last time they didn't vote, yet they have majority numbers with them. If they come out and they decide to vote, we can change the situation in this country very quickly.
Definitely. Professor Sewe had noted here, you had a rebuttal to the whole issue about Kennedy thinking there is Marxism. He was phrasing it in a very interesting way in terms of export of labor and borderline escapism from the government and the head of state. What do you have to say about that?
I would like to dissect this issue. He also talked about the airlift to the United States at independence. So Kenya was inheriting a country from colonialists, and we needed skills to help build our country. That was the whole basis of exporting students to go and study and come and rebuild our country. And that's what happened. Of course, some stayed in the diaspora, and that's how Burma was created. If we dissect what's going on in society, we have skilled, semi-skilled, and unskilled labor. At the skills level, the government is actually discussing with the government of Germany to export skilled labor to Germany. We also have unskilled people who end up going to the Middle East. We just need to ensure, like the Philippines, what they did. They have put very tight control agreements between the Middle Eastern countries and the government of Philippines. And the embassies are very much protecting their nationals in the Middle East. If you really come to think of it, the greatest growth of India was because a lot of Indians left India, went to the Western world, particularly to the United States, supported the digital revolution in the US. Majority of them came back, and this is what made India move from a low-income country to almost an upper-income country. I left this country at the age of 22 to go to the US. And I have had a career in the Western world. Now I've come here to set up a university that will focus on the digital technology, entrepreneurship, and innovation, and will play with financing to ensure that no Kenyan is left behind. So Kenyans going out of the country is not a bad thing. It's a good thing that gives Kenyans skills, they learn a lot, and then they come back to their country. So I think that we need to look at the big picture as opposed to only focusing on one small part of the challenges that we are facing.
Definitely. Very, very important. Gentlemen, we have close to 4 or 5 minutes. You had a rebuttal to that? Briefly. Yes.
Yes. The issue here is, if Dr. Sewe is saying it's good for people they send people out. Who is paying the school fees? Who is helping them? Who is taking care of the scholarship? Look at Botswana. They send so many students and government pay everything. You get it? It's not pay half, I pay half. Government pay everything. Let doctor tell us how many students, let him give an account. How many students had government support them since maybe for the past 3-4 years? How many students had government support them that they are in overseas? That we are expecting. What I want to tell him is this. If a whole minister, I don't know whether Dr. Mutua is still a minister for foreign affairs.
No issue.
And you can remember, he said there are a lot of jobs in the Middle East. Do you know the job he's talking about? House helper, constructions. How dare can a minister say that to Kenyans? That's just like you spice in front of somebody.
Yes.
So I want doctor to understand, if every single ministry in Kenya or every governor can at least support 10 Kenyans, support them for scholarship, the whole year, how many students can we account for? This system is not there, it's close. And politically has been hijacked it.
Okay.
We see the students complain. So I'm telling him, even as he's talking about he went and came back good, and we don't against that.
All right.
But is there any system that we know that these are the students, but not sending people to go out of Kenya for any house helper and those kind of things?
Definitely. Sankara, briefly.
I was to respond to this, and let me say this. I'm in agreement with the Dr. My only bone of contention is providing exportation of labor as the only solution to unemployment in Kenya. You see the jobs the president is creating. He tells you to go to the university, do everything. The education model do not support the job is providing. He's telling you to work as Mjenga. I had Kenyans asking him, you are ever telling us that we go and work on the affordable housing projects. Do we all belong to the Mjengo sector? So that's a very important question that he ought to have interpreted, not from a reactionary perspective, but from a perspective of listening. When I talk of the education system being here to actually, the politicians are endorsing everything to legitimize their power, reproducing their ideologies, while socializing us, the citizens, towards accepting our subordinate responsibilities as citizens. The education systems, the ones they are endorsing, do not actually seek to solve the challenges we have today.
Definitely.
So I agree with people going abroad, but I disagree with Kenyans going to take care of cats in Dubai in the name of working. We can plow farms that they have hundreds of thousands of hectares. You find someone constructing a home in over 900,000 hectares of land. How much can be produced from such land? We can do better than washing cats.
Definitely, washing cats and snakes. Yeah. So, Prof, quickly respond to Dr. Shem. Quickly, then we have closing remarks from Hussein Kamal and close this up in less than a minute, please, because our time is up.
I think Dr. Shem was talking about students and scholarship. I was talking about job opportunities. People that either are not unskilled or semi-skilled or skilled who want opportunities overseas. The opportunities are here. I'm not saying there are no opportunities here. There are some people who get opportunities in Kenya. Others will not get opportunities in Kenya. And if the opportunity elsewhere, I think they should take advantage of that, benefit from that, help their families, and if they so wish, come back. Or their children will come back.
Definitely. Closing it up, Hussein Kamal, you haven't been this whole issue of labor export, but in closing, from the whole discussion, because we've tackled a myriad of issues, and I've realized you're very passionate about education and how to resolve this particular challenge. Just briefly, as we close up, for the Kenyan education system, now, moving forward, what is your call to action? From where you sit, what is your call to action briefly? Then we wrap this up.
Okay, so I tend to actually look at things optimistically generally, seeing that we have always as a country had our highs and lows. Yeah, we go through good times, we go through bad times. Even during bad times, when the economy, like right now, we are struggling, this is when actually I say you make your bones when times are tough. So the skills you can learn now, apply yourself in areas, study, understand, to the youth of today, study and understand what fields are actually viable. If you're in high school today, you're looking to come into university, or you're in university, if you're going to do a vocational course, those are working out very well. Couple that with a business degree, for example, do a diploma. That is going to give you a skill set which will take you to a path of growth very quickly, because the industries right now which are growing in our country, manufacturing to a certain degree, automotive is definitely growing, there's a lot of focus on that, construction industry to a certain degree, yes. So apply, I'll tell the youth, apply yourself in those areas. Don't take jobs which are not going to yield any fruits down the line. If you are looking to go out of the country looking for a job, understand, look at just, and it's so simple. Yeah, you get these information at the tips of your fingertips, basically. If you look at Canada, Canada is prioritizing visas for certain job categories. Yeah, it will not give you a visa for dentistry. It will give you a visa for a dentist assistant, radiologist, for that matter. Those are the jobs which hold value. So understand what is available locally, understand what is available internationally, make a smart choice.
All right, gentlemen, we are out of time, but today we've done general outlook. Hopefully next time we'll tackle the issue of labor export as it is and the dynamics there in between. But thank you very much. This has been a rich discussion. Learned a lot from the far end, Hussein Kamal, General Manager, Ashok Leyland, Dr. Shema Gay, CEO, Pack and Use. Then we have Kennedy Sankara, governance expert and also political analyst, and Professor Patrick Osewe, Senior Director for Africa Business Development at Regenesis Business School. Gentlemen, I appreciate your time, and this is the first of many in discussing issues that are hurting and affecting the youth and how we can turn the conversation into being solution-oriented. Thank you for participating, and thank you very much also for being part of this conversation and joining with us over the past hour and a half. I'm Nokip Kimboy. That's where we put a full stop tonight. Good night.
Transform Kenya. Empower our nation.